Okay. Okay. The Hey, wow, another episode with 5 minutes. No, that is spicy. Now, I did not actually expect the next episode was just going to jump right into a flashback. It's also very interesting that Garfiel did the trial very young, although due to his current age. It makes sense that he did it young too, because the end of the result feeling of that trial would remain, and especially when he got a little bit older, a lot of what he remembered was what he told himself as a kid to deal with the traumatic situation of losing a parent. But, of course, there's something, that was added in Garfield of knowing what the truth actually was. But what is truth? But we still get to that a little more shortly. Furthermore, Subaru's mini rant to Garfield for, messing up his own funk was quite something, and while I was at the edge of my seat, or treadmill for my case, as I was wondering what Garfield's retaliation to Subaru, would be, and of course, it is transforming into a more light orange Tony at the time. Anyway, I was pleasantly surprised with Subaru's continued confidence when against Garfield, when he's like, that time when Subaru was like, I've been hell itself, I've been to hell itself. And and I liked how he saw a little bit of himself in Garfield and how he could tell what his starting line is and etc. He's kind of like the Wham for Garfield, which is kind of interesting. With that, when he fights Garfield, he says arigato when he's yamak. I was wondering, wait, what happened? What just cracked? Was that his gate? With the whole thing with Felix talking about, don't overexert and stuff like that. And Puck also at the beginning talking about how much it uses from you. I was like, maybe he won't be able to use Shamak for a really long time. So I was like, oh, I guess so. But then, without doing the future thing where we see Puck, because I think he says arigato because of Puck too, for like, the Queenstone sort of thing, where I think Puck told him like off screen or something. But yeah, at first, after I thought maybe you can't use it for a long time, and I was like, when he said arigato, I was thinking maybe his gate break, but I was like, but the gate break's kind of like your life thing, so I'm thinking probably not, or Subaru would probably be like dead instead of just like exhausted after his thing and the thing after that thing, which, so moreover, when he did the stab maneuver on Garfield and Gar started reverting, I was thinking, again, wait, what? And then, when we saw the boil Puck, and then I was like, oh, it's Puerto Rico's stone. But yeah, it probably had to be in because Puck told him. After that, we got a really cool scene where Sub's got a hand coming out of his stomach, and I was like, ooh, it's Satilla now helping Suboy. But then after that fun scene where Patricia and Garfield, title drops the episode, we had a cute animatic to go with what just happened a few minutes ago, alongside Subaru talking about a witch and sloth, and I was like, Sekhmet was the one that helped him, and I was like, I guess that makes so sense. And I was like, oh wait, the reason why Satilla has the ability was because, she killed all the witches, and so she probably gained all their abilities. From that, I'm thinking, but then I was like, but in that instance, the reason why he actually has the unseen hands, now he named the invisible providence, because
私は魔女教滞在司教タイダ担当ベテルギウス・ロマネ・コンティです。
Yeah, that guy, the best thing from season 1, like honestly. Amazing. Pedilogius des. Oh, I loved it. Also, I gotta say, I always thought he says des, after his name. But apparently he says deaf. But, he just doesn't make the, bit very strong. So it sounds like des. So I only found that out after I was watching, like... And I was like, oh my god. So he says, Bedologius, death, so yeah. So I was thinking, oh, that's actually really cool, because it reminds me from, like, video games. Like, Weezer already has a lot of video game stuff, but there's, like, another thing where, the character, gains the ability after defeating, basically, you have to kill the boss. And I was thinking, that's cool. Games that come off the top of my head would be Capcom games like Devil May Cry and Mega Man. I don't know why I said it like that. But yeah, the next moment I'd like to mention is probably my favourite part of the episode. And it was where Garfiel retried the trial and finally came to terms with the truth he had with him ever since the incident. Oh, I almost forgot when we find out that Scar was done to himself to forget about the kiss. That was very shocking and heartbreaking for me personally. I was like, damn. Also, that young Frederica, was it like Soup's parents where it's like, just, the memories of, that person, like, put there? Or was it like, Hedona speaking as Federica? But I was thinking, I don't think she would do that, but she very well could, couldn't she? I was thinking that would be more. But yeah, whatever sweet moment where Gar says that smile, that says everything. We are followed by a scene to see the quote-unquote new Garfield and introducing what his whole new dynamic with the group will be. Overall, we get another party member who wants to ride on the Subaru. Because, yeah. Right? That he saw him doing something at first and I was like completely clueless. Well, yeah, when Garfield says, oh, I seen when you were getting pretty desperate. And I was thinking, huh? What? Funny thing is, I actually didn't figure out what that was till I saw a reaction by Kimchi and Tofu where Kimchi spots it out and says, says what he found out. It's quite funny, that situation, because especially where in the episode Emilia connects the dots, actually it shows the visual of Subaru all scuffed up and then she's like, oh, that's what he did. Baka, idiot Subaru. But I still can't forgive you for for breaking the promise. But yeah, I really guess my concentration is not the greatest while running on the treadmill. But yes, Subaru's investment was quite cute, I will say. It's quite out of Subaru's character per se, because, usually he's so into just saying, yeah, I love Amelia. Oh, but you should know, I love Amelia too. Well, he doesn't really want to do that, but he doesn't mind if that's the effect of it, because he just loves to openly show his affection for her. But it makes sense also why he feels a little embarrassed, because he's kind of done to himself, and this is a very personal thing with him doing this very cute thing, to write all on the walls on a trial to be like, you can do this, I believe in you, let's see you later, right? When you complete this, let's go on a date, and that sort of stuff. Even though he would usually say that out so loud to everybody to hear, when it's more like, something he hasn't personally shared, when it's meant to be such a personal kind of thing, the context of those words are way more sentimental to Subaru, so it's understandable why. You know, when those actions are seen, he's like, oh God, those were only for Amelia's eyes to see, But yeah, and I was thinking to myself, one or two things. I was thinking, now when I think about that, maybe I should just look back and say what I found out. But did he say he found out because he just did a trial? Or did he found out because he was literally saw it in the moment? I think he saw him do it while he was literally doing it. But yeah, I think the reason he didn't interfere, because even though he already thought Subaru was a little bit suspicious in some ways, I think Subaru made it pretty apparent as he was in there just swapping it on the wall. Finally, where Amelia meets Echidna, or Echidna. Choose your pick. I choose Echidna because that's what the characters are going to be calling her, even though I don't know if that's per se the correct way, but hey. It seems like I went too offbeat, but either way, if I were to go back on, yeah, I love when to show Amelia's new confidence, where she does her very own sort of confident pose, like Subaru did. I think it's slightly different, but I think it's the Amelia's rendition, which is cool, because if you think about it, that was basically Subaru's like rebirth of himself when he first does that whole thing with the introduction, because ever since the flashback we knew that that was his actual rebirth without actually doing the death. So yeah, I probably have to edit so much.